We are live. John Kitchens, thank you for being here. Everyone, welcome to Agents Who Win, Conversations with Coach Kitchens with Kinder Reese Coaching. Say that 3 times and see if it comes out the same way every time. That would be great.
Yes, it would.
If you guys have not subscribed to us on YouTube, like our channel here on Facebook and follow us on Instagram, _Agents Who Win. Thank you to the hacker who took our original page. John, thanks again for popping on here Friday at 3 o'clock Eastern time. I love all the time zone stuff with everyone we're partnering with across the country and trying to see what time and where things are supposed to be. And by the way, guys, it's National Hoodie Day. It's 85 in Florida.
Mid-70s in Texas.
Yeah, get your hoodies out. We didn't plan this, nor do we plan our matching white Yetis. So here we are, wherever the camera is. So wanted to thank you for coming on. You and I have done a show together before, and it was another conversation about like what I'm doing. So I appreciate you coming back on so I can kind of talk about what you have going on. And you have a lot of stuff that you're doing with the Honey Badger Group, with Kinder Reese Coaching, Experimenters Live, the Inner Circle, Coffee and Coaching, and that was a new one. I'm like, where do you come up with this stuff and the content and just the time? And you're still doing full-time coaching. Yeah,
still full-time coaching as well. And it's just, I think we've just been, the opportunity of who we've had, the opportunity to work with, over the years, who's had tremendous impact on all of our lives, be it Jay Abraham, Dan Kennedy, Frank Kern, Clayton Mask, CEO at Infusionsoft, and, just the thousands of agents as well over the years across the country that we've had the opportunity to work with. And it's just, you just pick and pull so much, and, it's just fun, to be able to, add value back and share the things that had an impact on our lives with everybody as well.
Well, I think with Experimenters Live, I've gone back and watched a lot of them, and it's the little nuggets that you're pulling out of every show. And you're on 120, 125 shows now?
Yeah, we got 120 coming up this next week. So, yeah.
You go in there, and whenever I'm talking to people about, joining our group, I'm always like, guys, if you have a question on anything, here's 119 shows of top leaders in the industry giving back what they're doing. If you want to learn how to market to communities here, you want to learn how this guy's crushing in Google pay-per-click. He just gave an hour of information for free. You want to learn about this. It's all here. And if you want, call them, because these guys will answer the phones and they'll give you the information and spend some time with you.
It really is one of the coolest things that we've ever seen, right? Jay and I, we talk about it all the time. Like, we have never been a part of a community that has such an abundance mindset, and it's growing. I think in the last 30 days, just within that Facebook group, 70, I looked at it this morning, about 70 new people have joined in the last 30 days. It's over 4,700 in that group. And, we kind of joke a little bit, because when we joined EXP, there weren't even 4,000 people at EXP.
When I joined, it was 19 months ago, and there was 1,600 people in the group, and within 6 months there was 3,200, or close to double. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of cool to see that.
Yeah, and what's cool, you even look at our, we say in the money, right? Within the 7 levels of how it really started, right? I mean, it's Al and below.
Yeah.
There's less than 4,000, right at 4,000 maybe. So, that just goes to show you, outside of the money, how it's growing, and people that have, really embraced that community. And that's really what it is, right? It's an abundance mindset community. And, anybody has any questions, you throw it in there, and you'll get, usually within minutes, you'll get, responses and feedback, and it's something really cool, really special. And, we don't take it for granted. That's for sure.
When I was on a Zoom last night with Jay, with a couple of partners here, they had, he was showing us the enterprise, and he's got 400 people waiting to come in over or not waiting, but 400 people that have come in over the last 30 days, which is pretty cool. Just the growth there. That's 10% of your group right there. Now, now joining. They expect it to double in the next probably 6 to 8 months. With the way things are, the force multiplier, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
the whenever I go in there and everyone's always, it's like any Facebook group that you belong to, whether it's Lab Coat, Lead Gen, Honey Badgers, any of them, they're great for referral sources. And so you say, and if anybody ever needs anything, I've taken quite a few Orlando referrals out of there, and it's just being on, watching the system, going in, scrolling stuff. And I even, there's one where a friend needs help, so we're in there trying to help them out today. But it's like I've made money off the page as well, just from collecting the referrals.
Sure.
Connected with other agents, so that was pretty cool.
Sure. And it is a true community, right? When you look at, really, the administrators of that group, right, that really started it, when they're not the ones first, responding or the ones that are like putting that in there, but you have collectiveness from the entire community adding value. That's when you've got something really special. And, you touched on Expert Mentors Live. That was really the brainchild of Kyle Whistle and Daniel Beer. And they teed it up and they said, "Hey, let's get on a call. We need to figure out something that we can do to tap into the horsepower of this group." And Kinder being Kinder, he's like, "Well, I think Kitchens is probably the most disciplined person. Let's let him run with it." I was like, "Thanks. Oh, I appreciate it." So it's really where it came from, that conversation. And there's a few agents early on. I don't think they're a part of the company or the organization anymore. That teed it off. Kyle was number 4. His one is still amazing. And I've been on him ever since, right? 120 episodes, and I got him episode 4, and I can't get his butt back on. So, but it really is. It's really cool. That one's fun. Get to connect with. There's a lot of agents that people don't even know who they are, right? And you get on, and I'm blown away. I'm taking notes as we go as well, and so it's really cool.
Well, I think it's fun because you're like, we're doing the email was basically like this, when I did it with you. But I think the best was when you guys did the one with Bobby Davidowitz, and it was live in Vegas.
Yeah.
The first time I done this, I'm like, oh, cool. I've done some in my office, and I, with a team member, I had my cousin a few weeks ago who was doing health insurance, and she came into the office so the internet would be working correctly because the internet in our neighborhood is not that good. And so I'm like, go in the other room. Let's close the doors. I want to keep the same format. I don't want to, where we're like next to each other. And Jeff in my office, I'm like, all right, he's my first episode. I could see him across the door. We're making faces at each other while we're live. But I'm like, just you stay over there. We want to keep the format going. But it's fun when you can do it live and stuff, and it makes it a little different.
I can't wait to get back to be able to doing them, live as we start to bounce around. I think 21 is going to be a lot of live events happening.
Yeah. Sure. I'm like, my travel budget's been nothing in 20, so I'm just like, crap. 2021. Oh, this is going to get expensive.
It is going to get expensive.
We just paid for Cabo, and I'm like, oh man, that's because we haven't had any of that stuff coming up. So it's like all your extra cash has been going into other stuff. But can't complain. 2020, as much of a wreck it's been an awesome, year for real estate for us and team growth and stuff. So we can't complain. Now it's just finding the right balance of, how do we grow strategically now that we've gotten the right path forward, adding the right sources in and going through all that. So we've been digging into a lot of the back episodes, just trying to see what other ideas, what others have done. Kyle Whistle stuff. I mean, I watch him and Dan's videos all the time. Their other Facebook group, Be Different Mastermind. I mean, the ton of value that they're pouring into that. Yeah. The other part of running these shows is like, you got to be disciplined. So I'm sitting here, it's like Friday. I've got nothing else going on. I'm like, I'm ready to go to the house, just relax, hang out with the kids when they get home from school. And it's like, crap, Friday, 3:00, we got to do this. We got to be here, which is good. It kind of keeps our day set. I mean, every Wednesday for 120 weeks, you've been on the show doing that and coming up with, finding the people lined up. And that's the other part, is getting the people, 2, 3, 4 weeks out and getting it set up. And like, what are we going to do? What are we going to talk about? What's your specialty? So on and so forth. Yeah,
it is. It is the getting out in front of it, right? The discipline and make sure you've got a couple backup strategies in your back pocket, just in case, something happens, which has happened, right? Yep. And so it never fails. But for the most part, And that's what I, just kind of tee up with folks is like, hey, just come from a place of contribution, add value. And, you as, kind of the host and of the conversation, you can, make people feel at ease and just kind of get into a natural conversation. It flows. And, most of those expert mentors, I look up and we're like 55 minutes in and I'm like, all right, we got to wrap.
Yeah. Well, I had Michael Hellickson on, I think 2 weeks ago, and then 3 weeks ago, and then Donna last week, and both of them were like clipping an hour. And Michael had his three things to talk about, and I'm not doing three, whatever it is to talk about, and those three things could have gone over an hour.
Sure.
And Donna, the same thing. We had she had the slides up there, and they could have gone, a good hour and a half, just because the amount of content that can be provided. So you've got to find let's narrow it down. That 50-page clip needs to be 20 pages. And let's just get some talking points out of it.
Yeah.
Sure. But like this, we're 30 minutes to an hour. We're just having fun. We're having a good time. We're talking, learning stuff, and just hanging out and see what's going on a Friday afternoon. So what do you guys do for coaching right now? That's I wanted to kind of talk about Kinder Reese Coaching, because you guys were huge, and then you kind of backed off, and now I'm seeing it come back into play. And there's a lot of value add that's still going with things.
Yeah, it is. And, our whole philosophy over the years, and, Kinder Reese Coaching and kind of NAEA, and we kind of, Kinder Reese Coaching there is a little brand confusion, and we get it. But the big thing is it's always been about exponential growth and, helping you become the dominant agent in your marketplace. And everything we do is from that perspective. And it's real simple. I got it down. It's 3 P's, right? We create a simple plan. We maximize productivity, and, we harvest profits. And it's really, we can expand a little bit more on that. But if you want to keep it real simple down to 3 things, that's really what it is, and within that plan, the biggest thing in some of the best feedback that we've gotten from clients over the years is that, it's not about us, right? It's always about them, and, helping them design the business around the life that they want to live. What is their goal, right? It's not our goal. It's not our goal. We've got the principles and the framework to help put in place to help you accomplish whatever it is you want to accomplish. So we look at it in kind of 3 parts. So it's like, hey, what is the goal? And then we're going to challenge you like crazy. Is that really the goal? Yeah, I want to do 500 transactions. Why in the hell do you want to do 500 transactions? Right? Like, I really, really want to know what that is. And most of the time when somebody says that, it's 100% ego. And it's like, okay, so what is the real goal? Let's extract that out, and taking them through that process and challenging their thinking. And then once we know the goal, then what's the model need to look like to support, to make that happen, right? Monetary, the model, right? How are we going to make money? As we know, there's only one goal in business, right? That's to make a profit. So what's the model have to look like to accomplish it? And then it's the plan, right? What's the strategy? What's the game plan? The only thing that supersedes strategy is the model. What's the goal? What's the model? What's the plan? And that's really what we, really work on to work through to get there. Obviously, business fundamentals, the tracking, the paying attention, the financials, org structure, what's the team have to look like to get there? That's all part of it. But, really trying to get clear on those things. And, a lot of agents, Todd, this, they just get so sucked into the day-to-day. They're in the forest, I was hanging out with a neighbor a couple nights ago, and he's a VP for, I can never remember the name of his company, but they own marinas across the country. And they're kind of elevating, going to more of a luxury, brand, marina style. And we were talking, and he had his leadership summit, and I recommended the Jocko Willnick's leadership strategy and tactics to him. We were talking through leadership And we were talking about the Jocko story when they're on the oil rig, right? When, the whole team was like froze because they were so down and in, locked into the target, and nobody was making a call what needed to happen, right? So he disengaged up and out, right? So he was able to kind of get a lay of the land and see what they needed to do, and then he made the order and they went. And I think so many agents just get so locked in, down the barrel, that they don't step back and breathe for a second and look at, hey, what are all of our moves here? What's the best possible move for us to go? And we really want to, from a coaching perspective, we really want to challenge people's thinking. We want them to, be able to step back and breathe and, get a really good game plan that, doesn't zap the other equities of their life as well. Right. And being able to focus and try to be as well-rounded as possible.
I've had, being with the company, we're having a lot more conversations with the agents, mostly about what they're doing. It's because it's a partnership alignment. And so, one of them that we're just talking with recently, husband and wife couple, they're running ragged at both ends. And it's like, let us help you get set up, structured correctly. And I think my business is a mess, but when I look at it, I'm like, actually, we have a lot of stuff going on that's right, but you want to improve on what's right, because there's some things in there that need some coercing to keep the wheels moving smoothly. But it's like, if you could start fresh, if you're going to build a team, it's like, what's the where to start, then the next step, then the next step. I have, I'm going to pull the sheet off the wall here. When I was looking at all the stuff, this is the little business roadmap. And
is that got the 8th stage, or is that just the 7?
7. So you got visionary 300 plus. So that's, when I looked at where I was 81 to 60 at 81 to 160 at the entrepreneur, we wanted to be the leader 160 to 300. That was 2 years ago. That is our plan in 2021 to get to that 250 number. And, when I sit and talk to them, I'm like, so what do you guys want to get out of, building a team? And, it's like, well, we want to sit back. We want to take listings, let them handle the buyers. Okay, there's a good goal. You can step back, concentrate on your time, because that's where the money's being made, is on the listings. There's clients to be serviced. There's a lot of buyer business. Let them go focus on that, because there's agents who are better at being buyer agents than they are listing agents, or running both. Hire the right support staff that can handle the marketing for you, that can handle the transactions and stuff. And so it's kind of cool sitting with them, kind of helping envision the business that they have. And I'm like, I wish I could be you today than from what I was 10 years ago, because I've had 10 years of mistakes up until today. And, you got to go back and like, oh, wait, this model's not working. We need to fix it. All of a sudden, we're imploding our business, and then we go back and it's like you go and you try and rebuild. And you're like, oh, wait, that's not working. Let's sit down, everyone, and do it again. Nope, not going to work. So like, if I can, I'll give you the free advice. Just don't do what I did and take what I'm paying for right now, and you'll be successful creating the right team. So it's cool doing that stuff and learning what volume they want to get to, and the why 500 transactions. Well, that's ego. Where my little short story was, I was an agent with an assistant, bought somebody's database, and realized we had too much business, so I hired a buyer's agent. Way too high on splits. Didn't really understand the whole model. And then we realized that there's more business. So we hire another buyer's agent. And it's not that we're spending money on marketing. It's just the business is there, and there's ways to cultivate sign calls, Zillow, Facebook ads, all the stuff that's going on. And we sat down with I think today we're 3 support and 6 agents. And the coach we're talking with right now goes, so why so small? I'm like, I was 6 times bigger than I wanted to be 10 years ago. And so it is envision, like, where do you see yourself, and where do you see yourself as a fit in the role of the team? Do you want to just sit back and manage and cultivate the team and grow a very profitable and successful business? Or do you want to be in the daily grind of running around buyers and sellers and doing all that stuff? Yeah. Or find leaders, like now you get to a point, okay, who's the right leader in the position? And then, they've got 6 agents. Now you got to go find the next leader within the team. So we're on a growth mode right now. So that's why we're trying to learn and get the right people engaged and, want to be with us for long term.
Yeah, I love that. I think, definitely in growth mode, you definitely want to pay attention. I mean, wherever you're at, you want to pay attention to the financials, but I think in growth mode, you sacrifice some of the profitability to be able to reinvest back into, talent, back into marketing, to be able to take that next jump. And what I mean by sacrifice is that, you may have been operating at a 25% net profit clip before taxes, including paying yourself.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, let's take 10% or 5% of this profit, reinvest back into a marketing or a key hire, and then we'll grow it back to 25% again. But if you're growing it, then you're growing the revenue as well to be able to get to that point. So, if you can understand the financials and how to work that, to be able to, when you pull and when you reinvest and what you need to pay attention to, you can, grow a lot more strategically during that growth mode.
With the success we've had this year, I was able to put some additional money back into savings. And, as we get into this fourth quarter, I'm looking at like, okay, what are we going to do? And now it's like, all right, look, we've got this put away. Let's use that to reinvest. We don't want to go and just all in, but strategically take some of the money we've put back into savings and reinvest, like you're talking about, and get the stuff now, because as we hire the agents, we need to get the appointment set, and we need to get the right people into support. Luckily, my coordinator, my closing coordinator, and my marketer can handle high volume, so we're not like trying to go more admin, but strategically take away from stuff from them that we can outsource to other people. Jessica, who's watching right now, who corrected our little technical error. She's been an asset to Rachel with all the marketing and doing all the stuff on the online side and the marketing there. So like Rachel's gone today, so Jessica's got all the stuff covered in the background. So having the right VA support, which is an awesome service that we've got, it definitely helps as well.
I think you nailed it, right? If you're going to have that administrative support, they all need to be cross-trained, and it's just because if they're not, then guess who gets to do the job when one's out? You do.
I haven't touched a transaction in a long time. When I get in, they hate. I would love if we could just sell real estate 9 to 5, because after 5 o'clock, I'm like, all right, I got to do the contract on the weekends. Can we? Normally the goal is like we got to list it, or the goal should be list it on Thursday, have your open houses, present all the offers on Monday. And I'm like, I don't want to. I want them sold by Friday, so my weekend and my phone's not blowing up.
Right.
We lose opportunities doing that as well.
Yeah, that is a good point, and it goes back to what it is. The lifestyle that you want to build, right? Yeah. What you want to live. And that's why that's where it has to start. It has to start there. If you do want to do 1,000 transactions, cool. You got to understand what does that mean, right? I think that's where a lot of people miss out is what's the ripple effect to that decision, right? What does that mean? And, for us, we, on our real estate team in-house, 22 was the most that we had. It was painful.
Yeah.
When we got down to about 10, and keep in mind, 22, a little bit of production, 10, I had a builder that I represented, but only did a handful of deals and just helped our flips. And the team did the rest. So much more fun, so much more enjoyable. We were actually more profitable with fewer agents than we were bigger. So it's just what is it that you want, right? And I think that's the biggest thing where you have to start. What is the life that you're trying to design? Yeah. And how does your team, your organization look like, or what does it have to be able to support that goal, right? So it's what's the goal? What does the team have to look like to support the goal? And once you nail that, man.
Well, your business roadmap, NAEA's real estate business roadmap, I love how you have it like each set outline. When you're 0 to 15 transactions, you can hit it on your own. If you're going to go to 30, you hire an assistant. You're going to go to 60, you're going to need maybe 2 assistants and or a buyer's agent. Yeah. Our goal for our team members is they're going to sell 2 homes a month. It takes 90 days to get started once you join the team. But it's like, why can't they sell 3? Why can't they sell 4 a month? And so don't build this big 22-person team that's each selling 2 homes when, obviously some months they're not going to be doing anything. Some months they'll be selling 5. But let them have that successful month of 7 sales. And, because then they can build off that momentum as well. And if you try and build it to where everyone's just only doing 2, you're kind of limiting what they can do. And if you have the right support staff, then they should not be worrying about contracts. The support team should be doing that. They should be going out and selling houses, opening doors. And as Veronica says, she goes, I want you out shaking hands, kissing babies. And, and that's just make more connections and instead of working on paperwork and doing all that other stuff.
I think that helps too. Once you know what you want them to do, it helps you look for that type of person, right? Yeah. That DNA, their makeup, right? Where that's kind of their zone to where their energy, they're proficient and they're passionate, right? That's what you're looking for, right? They're good at it and they love doing it. And, passion is energy. So if you're doing something you're passionate about, it's not going to zap your energy versus if you're doing something you're not passionate about, that it's going to be zapping your energy. You're not going to want to do it. Your willpower is gone. So I think that once you know exactly what you want them to do, what that function, where it starts, where it stops, and who they kind of that DNA, what they need to be. And, you look proficient and passion, and do they fit into those buckets? If so, bring them on. Right.
So I wrote down your notes earlier. It's simple. It's the simple plan, the 3 Ps with a simple plan, maximize productivity and harvest profit. And then you had, what's the goal? What's the plan? And then what's the structure?
So it's what's the goal? What is the model? Right. What's the model need to look like? And then that's where the plan kicks in. Right. Okay. So, if you're looking to stack a bunch of cash in this business, there's nothing more profitable than you doing deals yourself. Right. Yep. And once you start to step out of that production, now you're giving more of the dollars away to the team members, and however you want to structure it, however you're running with it, salary plus type model, straight commission model, whatever, however you design it from a financial perspective, you just have to understand you're not going to be as profitable if you weren't doing that unless you increase headcount. And so, that then becomes the game, increase headcount to be wherever you need to be financially to hit the financial targets that you have, for your life.
I learned that last year as I was trying to play that. Let me, hand the buyers, hand the sellers over, and you basically handed over 50% of your income, and those are not online leads. Those are people that are referral based. Because most of my personal business is repeat referral. If someone calls on the phone and says, "I want to list my house," cool, I'm going to run over there, and I don't know them. They probably are calling off an ad we've run in the neighborhood, or somewhere where we've got some marketing going on that's directed right back at myself. But most of the stuff that's online or team driven will feed back out to the team. Sure. And so when you start giving those opportunities over, you do lose that income, and it's like, but I want to keep it. But then I'm like, wait, I'm investing all that money back into the team. And so Mike, who's doing our stuff right now on the P&L, he's like, okay, so if you're a 30-70 split or a 50-50 split, for your team, just say everyone's on a 50-50 split. You need to keep 50% of your dollar into the company and take the other 50%. Treat yourself as an agent, and don't take, if you made 10 grand on a deal, don't take the whole 10 grand over to your personal account. You need to have that money operating for the business. And so it was smart to look at that, because then I can say, when I do begin to hand over some more business, as we want to step into more of a higher leadership role as we build the team, that we will release. We're getting financially to that point where it's going to start to make sense.
Yeah. One of the thoughts, Todd, and I haven't really ran through this on kind of with the team scenario, but there is a way to kind of maybe even look at, Mike Maklowitz, profit first type model as you continue to back out of production. And I was talking with one of our clients yesterday and he gets it. He understands that you get compensated for what you do. Right. And what we mean by that, and this is where we see agents get in trouble as they try to get out of production, is that they compensate themselves usually pretty well when they're the main driver of the business.
Right.
Right. Because they're head of company, they're top sales agent. And so they tend to pay themselves above market-based wage, right? If you were to go hire somebody, give them a salary for what you do, it always tends to be a little bit higher. And where they get in trouble is that when they stop being 60, 70, 80+% of the total revenue for the company, and they're maybe 25% of the revenue of the company, but yet they didn't adjust their compensation. So they're still paying themselves as if they were 80+% of the revenue.
Right.
That's where they get in trouble, and they don't realize that has to be that adjustment. And so you either take the cut, or you work on, other streams of revenue to help offset whatever it is that you've accustomed to making every so often. So,
well, that's where that $5,000, $10,000, play comes into. You've got to keep 50% of it into the business and only live on the other 50.
Yeah.
And then when you take that 50 into your personal, you need to cut that in half too. One of my team members who's doing very well, he's picking up the phone, smiling and dialing at 8 a.m, and he came into the business. He's a year and a half in now. Came in, started the business right away as a business. Now he's on our team, but he runs his stuff as a business. He has his own LLC, puts the money in there, keeps some in there, keeps some in savings, and then takes some for him and his wife to live on. And so it's like that $10,000 gets cut in 3 ways, because he's doing it smart. And so you got your tax money put away, you've got your extra money put into the business, and you've got your stuff you're living on. So keep a simple lifestyle. As it builds up, then you can start spending some more money. So I was impressed to see him right off the bat do that. And as also a guy who likes to educate himself and finds people to mentor off of and learn from what they're doing. Sure. But we didn't connect before he got licensed, and he was about 6 months in when he joined us. And to hear that he started that way was pretty cool.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Most people don't have the discipline to do that, and so that's kudos to him for doing it.
I'm in some of the new real estate agent groups on Facebook, and I just look on there, and I'm looking at the comments that people are making, and and everybody's getting the real estate license right now, which is insane. Sure. It's, and one of the girls that's joining, or we're trying to get to join our team. She was a teacher. She's getting her license. She's finishing college, and realizes she wants to do something different. A lot of nurses going right now and getting, they're basically, some of them, depending on what type of nurse you do, are minimal on the work they're taking. So it's like, hey, I can make some extra money if I sell 1 or 2 homes a month. But that's like the part-time agent who's like, hey, if I just go sell a house, I make $10,000. Like, you need to treat this as a business coming in. You need to treat it as, this is a separate, basically have your corporation up and run it like that. It's just not free cash that you're making on a commission.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it is interesting to see how many are getting in versus how many are getting out. What that ratio is right now.
It's everyone who's had a bad year has had a better year. For some reason this year, as we've been talking with a lot of people, and I'm be curious to see what 2021 holds with the amount of growth, and especially because no one's been able to take the state tests. We got a lot of people waiting to get in. They 2-3 months now waiting for the test, waiting for the fingerprints and stuff. Mm-hmm. So you're going to see a surge of new agents at the end of the year. Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Yeah. 21 is going to be interesting. I would, just all of our clients, we're just recommending stacking as much cash as possible. It'll, I think the big thing, to look at, from the housing, the market is that, CARES Act really will be up kind of going into the second quarter. For a lot of folks, played that. Most people don't understand that it was for, you could take advantage of it for up to 12 months. And so there were a lot of folks that, did that probably didn't save that monthly mortgage payment. And if they had the means, right, they still took advantage of it. And then there's some that, are honestly in a position to where they couldn't. So that's going to hit about Q2. And as we all know, most markets, Q2, spring market, things start to pick up. But when you see people that, Q2 that are not able to make their mortgage payments and they have no more relief. I had back on Expert Mentors before all of this hit earlier, or right at the beginning of this year, I had Nolly Williams on, and Nolly was one of the very first coaches at KW when their Bold program, right? One of the very first coaches when that whole program launched. And, we were talking through, and he said, hey, here's the data. Here's what we're seeing. And, he said, these are the three the three things that you need to stay focused on. And one is your database, right? 100% of your database. What's the percentage? Over 50% of the business usually comes from Sphere, past client, database type referral. Then he said, niche, you need to go old expireds. And he said, you need to pay attention to notice of defaults. And so obviously, as we know, CARES Act kicked in, all of this really put that on pause. But what he was sharing were some statistics of how much notice of defaults were up year over year. And he said, most people don't realize that. And I didn't. It was a shocker. And he said, that's the niche. And so you start, if that data's there, and then, this whole 12-month, CARES Act, that all is going to land Q2 going in midsummer, Q3. And so there's going to be a lot of opportunities out there, especially from an investment standpoint. There's going to be a lot of things to where you can jump in and help these clients fast.
Right.
I think that's where, cash offer guaranteed, that type of offer to the marketplace is going to be really strong. And, getting folks to get dialed in with that message to market now, that gives you a good 6 months to kind of saturate into the mind of the consumer in your marketplace that, damn, okay, we need to call Todd. He can get us an offer guaranteed, or, he can get us a cash offer, not deal with all the hassle of people coming through our property. So I think that's kind of where agents need to be thinking with their message to market. From a marketing perspective, you have to always be thinking about what is the story that the client is telling themselves, right? Who's your ideal client? Who do you work with?
Right.
What's the story that they're telling themselves in their head? And your job as an agent, as a marketer, is to join that conversation. So how can you penetrate through all the noise and join that conversation that's going on in their head, and being able to deliver your offer to help them solve their solution? You're in the, we're in the problem solving game, and, figure out what's the problem, and do you have the solution to help solve that problem?
Well, I love we're actually working on a not guaranteed offer, but like the express offers type marketing campaign right now. So we're three of us are going through the classes so we get certified and have a huge marketing campaign going out for it. So it's funny that you say into 2021 that's going to happen. So perfect. We're learning fourth quarter how to get it set up. First quarter 2021 we'll be launching, if not sooner, and we'll be hopefully able to take advantage of that. And it'd be great if we can obtain a couple of properties for ourselves and acquire some real estate as an asset. More real estate as an asset, long-term financial growth. But the when you get into the 2021 second quarter, the people that are going to be not failing but not able to make their mortgages, there is a lot that's out there, because you got a lot of the landlords that have not been able to not foreclose but evict. The tenants are probably still trying to take a free ride, and they're not. As an individual landlord, if I don't have 6 months, 8 months of savings per house, and that tenant wanted to take advantage of, hey, I'm not going to pay you for 8 months, you can't evict me either, then that can virtually bankrupt me. Yeah. And especially if you've got 4, 5, 6 properties that someone's doing that to. So you got to be in place. Agents get in a place next year to be able to help them. And it's probably not a lot of short sales because the market values are still up there, but it's going to be a lot more distressed type sales.
Yeah. I think too, what you need to be really, really mindful. So the thing is that you go get money when you don't need it.
Yeah.
You go get investors when you don't need it. And the reason is that when you want to, it's not there. So if you're in a really good position right now, I think you want to, be thinking, 6, 12 months out and positioning yourself in that position of strength instead of, being strapped for cash right now. Might not be the best move. So thinking through that, I would, if you don't have a couple of investors in your back pocket, I would work on that before the end of the year. There's a lot of people out there with a lot of money that's just kind of sitting on it. And you as an agent being able to align with a couple of them, if you don't, saying, hey, if I'm able to bring you deals, I'd love to represent. So for us, how we got in that game in the beginning was just that. We found an investor that we were working with that was doing flips, and we were finding the deals and then just being able to be the agent and collect the commission. Well, most investors get pretty smart. And so this particular investor said, hey, I have a feeling that if you have some skin in the game, you will find more deals. And he goes, I would like to partner with y'all.
Right.
Cool. We'll do that. Right. We'll find the deals. You and your crew will do the deals, and we'll split the profits, and we'll keep working that way. And then we factored, okay, commission was grouped in, right? So if we made 30 off the rehab and the commission was another 10, then we viewed it, hey, the total deal was 40, 20. And so we would take ours in commission. So that's how we work the deal. Well, then what happened over time is that we became the investor. And we didn't need that. We had our own crews. We had our own stuff, because, when you start doing, that many deals and you pick up, one crew just can't get it done. Right. So you go find another crew and stuff. So that's always tell agents, right, is like, if you really want to get into that game and get into that strategy, find a couple, couple investors, and we would always, buy and flips, and then find some guys who are buy and hold. Because usually their criterias are different.
I think there's a lot more buy and hold right now. There's the buy and flips are too expensive. They're underquoting the repairs that need to be done. And I laugh when I see the portfolio, whatever you want to call the word, come over the synopsis of what they're showing. And so when I sit and look at the properties, I'm like, this is not 10 or 15. This is 2025. Because knowing on the sales side, as a buyer's agent, when I'm looking at, telling my buyers, hey guys, this AC is 18 years old, this roof's 17 years old. Those are things you're going to have to do. So we're not going to pay them full retail on it. Now, fortunately, some other agent goes and doesn't talk about that stuff, and the investor somehow lucks out and gets that done. But when I'm looking at just the flips, it's like some of the stuff gets expensive. And you want to put quality product into the properties instead of the handyman special type stuff. So maybe that's just I'm biased because I want to fix it as if I'm living in it. And with every one that I've flipped, the inspection reports come back clean. Because we've taken care of every little nickel and dime thing. Now I might have spent a couple grand more fixing it, but we're planning on being around here a long time, so I don't want my name being slandered because 100%. You just told me a lemon. And
100%.
Whenever I hear that the client's like, yeah, we bought an investor flip, it was great until we actually started moving in, and it became the money pit because of Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
That's what we don't want to have happen.
No, you don't.
So, what's one or two things we can throw at the group here as we wrap up, as we go into 2021?
I think one of the I guess a couple things. I mean, one, everything rises and falls on leadership. And so I would, where are you at with your leadership abilities? And one, understand leadership is a skill. So what are you doing to improve that skill? And where it has to start is with you, right? If you're not strong, it's the whole oxygen mask, right? You got to put your oxygen mask on first. If you can't coach and lead yourself, you can't coach and lead another human being.
Right.
And so you have to focus on that personal development all the time. And, one of the things that I really push is you've got to be growing with your emotional intelligence and, the emotional intelligence of your self-awareness, being able to control, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, be able to control your emotions, know what really motivates you internally, understand that nobody can motivate you. People can inspire you, but nobody can motivate you. That comes from within. Like I said, we're controlling the, emotions, and then, understanding empathy at a deep level. I think that's the biggest key. That's what it really boils down to, and understand, the ability to put yourself in somebody else's shoes.
What are some leadership, if you want to become a better leader, what are some ideas or books or people to follow, like podcasts and stuff that you would recommend besides Kitchens?
Yeah. So from a leadership perspective, one of the number one books that always recommend is Beyond Entrepreneurship by it's pinned James Collins. It's Jim Collins, but if you search for it, it's James Collins. It's a blue book, Beyond Entrepreneurship. Chapter 2 is on vision. Chapter 1 is on leadership. And it's probably the best condensed chapter that you can pull away from a leadership perspective. The other leadership book I'm super, super high on, and I mentioned it earlier, is Jocko's book. He's got a few, right? Extreme Ownership. It was his very first book that he put out, but his most recent one that he put out is Leadership Strategy and Tactics. It is probably the best leadership book that I could recommend. And Jocko is obviously retired Navy SEAL. He's a beast of a man, but he is so articulate, smart, and just the examples that he gives. I just love, it's obviously, he's given, from a military perspective, Navy SEAL perspective, but he distills the principle and then he gives you an actionable item, how you can apply it to your life and your business. So those two, obviously, anything John Maxwell, you can't ever get enough of Maxwell, but, looking for something to dive into, those are probably the best pieces from a leadership perspective to really focus on.
It's funny you mentioned the second book as a guy who's a Navy SEAL. It seems like one of our support team was in the front listening to a podcast and the guy was an ex-Navy SEAL, but he's like a Navy SEAL. He's done everything. And I can't remember the guy's name or all of it, so I'm not going to try and make an idiot of myself trying to repeat it. But it's like, and then Jesse Itzler, he Living with a SEAL, that book.
Yeah, David Goggins.
And it was just like those, anything you could find or read that's had anything to do with military or a Navy SEAL in there, I think is going to be an awesome one because they are so ingrained on, how to outperform everything. It's awesome.
Yeah, David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me. It's probably the best mental mindset book that you can consume. It really is. You want to, if you're struggling, mindset wise, get the Audible version of that because they did something pretty cool. They did something really, really cool with that book. Don't listen with your kids. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm reading the comments and it's Don.
Don't listen with your kids.
He knew the book or he knew the guy, and then he's like, because it's like 5 a.m. Wake up, mother effer.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. He's hardcore. Now, my oldest has gone through all of his stuff, and my oldest is 18, and he actually I had him listen to it right when it came out. So what would that have been? He might have still been 16, but he listened to the Audible version because what they did was really cool. The guy that helped him write the book would read the chapter, and then Goggins would come in, and it was like a podcast.
Oh, cool.
They would ask questions and dive deeper, share extra stories, and then they would go back to the book. So if you just read the book, you're going to miss out on some of the extra little nuances in the stories.
I've listened to both of his audibles, and I'll do it again. And then we were able to see Jesse, I think, last year in Nashville. And it's like, I've already heard all this, but it's because I listened to the book twice.
Yeah.
So it was just cool to see him, his passion on stage. And it's just like he's when I'm in the car listening to it, I feel like he's sitting next to you, screaming at you with all that. So it's pretty cool.
Jesse's one of the best from stage that we've ever seen. He's amazing.
Yeah. So what's one more thing? If looking at the books to get into leadership, one more thing we could go into 2021.
Yeah, and it's
get it out of you.
Yeah, so everything is mindset, right? And the kind of the code that I always kind of instill into our clients, and it's the combination, if you will, to have to really unlock anything in your life. And if you look from a reverse engineer, right? So we look at the result and then we work backwards, right? So it's different, right? Even with real estate, hey, if we want to make 100,000, take home this year, then you just reverse engineer down to, okay, well, this is how many leads you need to have to make that possible. And so it's no different when we look at, are we getting the results that we want in any area of our life? And then, what causes the results? Well, what causes the results is our actions and our behavior and our habits. And so if we're not getting the results, then we're not taking the right action. We're not behaving the right way, and our habits are off. Well, if those are off, then it's usually we're feeling a certain way, right? We're feeling creatures.
Yeah.
So, our actions are really dictated by how we feel. And so if we're feeling disempowered, we're going to behave disempowered in a disempowering way, and we're going to get disempowering results. So what drives our feelings is our beliefs. And our beliefs are just a collection of our thoughts, right? A collection of thoughts make up your beliefs. And just because you're thinking a certain way or you believe a certain thing doesn't mean it's true. And so when you may be off, you can fact check it. Okay. So how do you check it? So you think about this. So if you're thinking a certain way and you believe something, then you would say, okay, can I prove this in a court of law by my peers? Would they all say this is true? And if they would not all say it's true, then it's not true. So you look there. Now you're like, okay, well, what drives our thoughts and what drives our beliefs? It's our environment. It's our circumstance. And so, my favorite quote on this is that if the people in your circle are not inspiring you, you don't have a circle. You have a cage. And so you have to look, right? Are you in a cage or are you in a circle of people? What people don't understand is that environment is stronger than willpower. And so who's in your environment? And it can be dead or alive. It doesn't matter, right? Or who are you listening to? What nutrients are you putting into your mind, right? We have to eat right to be strong and healthy. Well, we have to consume things to be as healthy mentally as we can. So you have to look there. And so it all starts. Environment is stronger than willpower. Who's in your circle? Who's inspiring you? Who's challenging you to think accurately and behave in an empowering way so you feel empowered to have empowered, action and empowered habits and behavior to get just phenomenal results that we can all obtain. And anything's possible. You look at somebody like a David Goggins who does things that most people can't even believe are possible. And it's you look all the way around all equities of your life. There's people that's performing like David Goggins can, mentally and physically. There's other people that are performing that way. So, modeling that behavior and understanding, that combination. And if you get that dialed in, man, things get pretty cool.
There was a lot of major takeaways there, and that last part was just awesome. I mean, I'm sitting here. If you see me going over to the right, I'm like, hold on, can you say that one more time? That's why I had to go back to the 3 Ps and what's the goal, what's the model, what's the structure. I had to go back and even dive into that. So that was all awesome. One of the things you said is as David's doing, it's like you're a certain age, you think you can't do it anymore. I'm myself, as we were talking about before, with marathons and stuff, I haven't run in a while, and I want to get back out and do it again. And just getting back in the gym because I can feel my body breaking down. Yeah. 45 years old, but it's and I said to my wife, when we're walking the other day, I'm like, I want to get back into I don't want to do CrossFit again, but get into a version of that. And I'm like, I'm too old to do that stuff. But then wait, I'm only 45. It's not, hey, I'm 45. I'm only 45. So that's mindset, and I got to get out of that, and I can get back in and do what I was doing 5 years ago. Because I was in the best shape of my life 5 years ago, and you kind of quit, and you're like, all right, why is my shoulder constantly hurt, or why is my knees hurt? Just got to get up and move around.
Hey, I'm excited to see what Tyson does. What is he, 52, 54? Yeah. He's 54. He's 54. And
I've been the debate the other night, just 20 years younger.
Oh man,
politics, but yeah, and I didn't watch it. I watched the Facebook memes of the punches going at each other. It's
Yeah,
fun.
you didn't need to watch it. You just see what's on Facebook. You get an idea of what happened.
That's all I needed to do. I got enough from that.
Me too.
Well, John, I appreciate you coming on today,
Man.
spending an hour with us, and everybody, thanks for chiming in. And we'll definitely, Don, I will sit down with you and go through the question of a way to make your commission part of the deal, or as a percentage of the investor, because we've done that in the past. It's a great way to partnership, because it's honestly the buyer side. Hey, it's free money back to you, and it's an investment back in.
Yep.
So there's ways to make that work. So guys, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube. We're here every week on Friday. And John, thanks for jumping in.
Thank
Check
you.
out Kinder Reese Coaching. John is an awesome coach. I mean, just this 1 hour alone, I've got a lot of takeaways that are going to help us out next week when we're doing our one-on-one. So I appreciate it.
You got it, man.
All right. Thank you. Have a good weekend, everyone.